end of the month. So here we are back again for Tuesday night live stream. I've got I don't know what's wrong with me. I got stacks upon stacks of books. That's what I do. For some reason, I just keep buying these dang things. So here we are, showing off a lot of books. So I figured, why not go ahead and get started at 7 instead of the normal 7:30. So before we get into, I guess, modern reads, a couple of notes first. I want to go over the chat, but I also want to plug tonight at 10 p.m. on the Comic Core channel. We'll be doing Modern Men instead of Golden Guys. The Golden Guys are all busy and out of town and all that good stuff today. So I've been asked to fill in. So now instead of Golden Guys, which you don't want to hear me talk about Golden Age comics, I'll be like a 5-minute show. But nonetheless, let's give you guys some light. Oh my God, there we go. All right, that looks much better. We're out of the dark ages now. So we're going to be doing Modern Men tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. So if anyone wants to join, definitely feel free to hit me up on Instagram or the Messenger gimmick, and we can get you on that show. Basically what it is we're just all going to go over modern reads that we like. And hopefully my goal for the show is for someone out there to look at one of the recommendations and actually give it a read and hopefully enjoy it. So be there 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. Without further ado, we'll go ahead and visit the initial chat here because we already got people hopping in. Thank you very much, guys. That's awesome. We got Bad News, Chris Barrett. What is going on, man? I always like seeing Chris in the chats. He's always popping in there, and about every single Comic Core chat looks like he's found my channel. So thank you for popping in, Chris. We got Mastodon Comics and Collecting. What is going on, Donnie? Always happy to see him in the chat. We got hey, that's my line. No, I'm just kidding. I like seeing JB Discovery Bay is back in the chats. From what I understand, he just got back from a vacation. So it looks like he's ready to buy more comics. I wonder if he ever opened my other package I sent him the other day. So happy to see JB in the chat. Oh, we got the boy who had 7 talks comic books. He has one of the hottest new live shows on YouTube. Every Friday he has did they ever come up with a name for that? Comic Gories, maybe, I think is what it was. But nonetheless, people race and tear apart their collections to pull out categorized books that him and John's Comics with Kids come up with, and it's been an extremely entertaining show so far. I absolutely love it. Hopefully I can be on at some point, but absolutely love the boy who had 7's idea for a live show. It's been awesome and hilarious so far, trying to see some of these guys get their books. It's always a lot of fun to watch. This guy just got done with a live stream so we got Comic Books NYC in the chat. What is going on, man? Happy to see you in the chat. We also got he's back. Like seeing Paul alive and well. Midwest Comic Man, what is going on, my friend? Happy to see you in the chat. All right, so without further ado, got a couple reads I've been reading lately. So I covered some of these on the Comic Core channel last night, so I'll try to keep those short and sweet. Read Flash Forward. Had to see what my boy Wally West was up to after that whatever you want to call happened to him, and Heroes and Crisis. The less said about that, the better. But nonetheless, the character Tempest Fugonaut, I have no idea who that character is. That's what he looks like. Basically, he recruits Wally West from prison to help him somehow save the multiverse from the dark multiverse. So they get a whole comic book issue out of doing that. And luckily, this is only $3.99 instead of $4.99. So there is that. Not too bad. Like I said, I may read it a year from now on the DC app. I won a $10 voucher from my comic shop for participating in their thing that they had on Instagram. So I used that $10 to buy a $10 copy of Superman Annual 11. So I got this book for basically free. So very happy to have this in my collection. If you guys want to see my review on this, I did one last night at the end of the Comic Core live stream on that Monday stream. So I won't bore you guys if you've watched both. But nonetheless, what I think of this book in a nutshell, best single Superman issue of all time. Please let me know if there's another one that's better than this. I would very much like to read it, but for my money, I think this is the best single issue of Superman ever written. Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, it's hard to top that team right there. Set that there. Spider-Man issue 1, J.J. Abrams, Henry Abrams written, Sarah Pacelli on the art. This was interesting. I mean, overall, I think I liked it. I kind of dig where they're wanting to go with it. This may be a Marvel Unlimited read somewhere down the line for me. But like I was saying last night, since Life's Story concluded, I may just go ahead and keep this on the pull list so I have some sort of Spider-Man to read every month. But nonetheless, I'll go ahead and go into more spoilers than I did yesterday. So if I'm holding the book up, that means I'm spoiling it, I guess. So once I put it down like that, I will end the spoiler discussion. So basically, spoilers start now. This book takes place out of continuity. It starts off with Spider-Man getting his hand all mangled. Later in the story, he doesn't even have the hand. So pretty much whatever happens at the beginning, that's how he loses his hand. And Mary Jane just happens to be on the side of battle, but unfortunately, she gets basically eviscerated by the main bad guy Spider-Man is fighting. Then after that, you cut to, I think it's like, 12 or 18 years later. I already forgot. But nonetheless, the story starts with the son of Mary Jane and Spider-Man, and he is kind of like your main player character from that point. And you have this like passive Peter Parker as his father. He's running a business, and he's all down and depressed. But luckily, you have Aunt May there to kind of rein in our new Spider-Man. The series or the issue ends with young new Spider-Man being revealed to by Aunt May, just who Peter Parker was in a past life. So I definitely thought it was an interesting take. It was a very, very interesting way to start a Spider-Man tale. So I might just go ahead and pick up issue 2 to see what I think of this. So yeah, give it a read. Don't listen to what everyone else says about this online, as I've heard kind of goes both ways. Don't listen to me. Just go read it for yourself, basically. So end of spoiler discussion on that one. Let's see. Something is Killing the Kids, #1. This one was interesting. It's a James Tynion written story. I feel like this is kind of his take on the Stephen King's It, if that makes sense to those who read it. But nonetheless, it kind of follows two characters, one being this one, who are kind of teaming up to hopefully kind of kill their Pennywise type character they got going on in the comic. The most interesting thing to me, or the most interesting scene to me in this comic, is where one of the main characters was with the principal of the school after kind of getting into an altercation outside of the school. So the principal pulls him in the office, and the principal is almost more unprofessional than the student is because, 9 kids have died. There's high tensions everywhere, including with the adults. So it's got a very interesting tale Tynion is crafting here. So I may be on board with issue 2 on that as well. So solid issue 1 with that. King Thor, #1. I have no idea what's going on in this book. I'll be perfectly honest. It was a $3.99 Marvel issue 1, so that was good enough to kind of get the buy-in for me, I guess. But I haven't kept track of the Jason Aaron stuff for a little bit. So unfortunately, I can't say if I like this book or not. I'm sure if you've been following Jason Aaron's Thor for 7 years, this book is almost a masterpiece. But unfortunately, I've been so on and off, and I haven't read all of the War of the Realms. This is probably not a good time for me to read this book. So can't say I liked or didn't like this book. I kind of just flipped through it. I had no clue what was going on. It kind of had that Old Man Logan type feel a lot of the books do now, with the Old Man Quill and the Old Man Hawkeye. Maybe this was his version of that. But nonetheless, check it out if you like Jason Aaron and Thor, I guess. Analog #8. I think this is the last book of this I'll be buying. After they took that hiatus, I kind of fell off the story, I'll be honest. I enjoyed the early part of this run, but they took a 6-month break, I think, between issues 5 and 6. And since I came back to it, I haven't been able to get back into the story. I usually enjoy Jerry Duggan, and then O'Sullivan's art's pretty solid too. But this last couple issues just hadn't done much for me, so I think I'm going to drop that from the pull list. Here we go. Batman Curse of the White Knight, issue 2. Once again, I'll kind of do the same thing. I'll go into, I guess, spoiler territory on this a little bit as I'm holding up the book. When I put it down, spoilers will be done. So in this one, Azrael comes full force at Batman. It's actually quite the spectacle. He gets into Batman's network. So when he does that, he basically has full authority to blow up the Batcave and everything in it. So there's a really cool action scene where Batman has to rip the wiring out of the Batmobile, kind of like in Batman 2 or Batman Returns, where the Penguin takes over the Batmobile, and then that's how he escapes the Batcave. Meanwhile, the Joker is coming full force at all of the Bat family. So when that happens, they basically give Bruce Wayne the option to out himself or the rest of the Bat family screwed. So within a couple panels, the world finds out that who Batgirl is. So that was a pretty interesting plot twist there. So they all know who Barbara Gordon is Batgirl now. So I was kind of falling off the first half of this issue, but the second half definitely reined it back in for me. So I'll still be on board for Curse of the White Knight. So always like me some Sean Gordon Murphy. So spoilers over there. Before we keep going, because I got some more stack to go, I do want to get back into that chat. So it says, speaking of the Spider-Man, J.J. Abrams, Comic Book NYC says, cool take. I thought definitely going to keep reading it. Only 5 issues, I think. Yeah, that's the main reason I think I'm going to keep checking in on it, too. It's kind of easy to keep up on 5 issues instead of like 10 or 20 for me anymore. So I might just go ahead and give it the other 4 at this point, because why not? We got Who Dat T raising the roof. He's in the house. What is going on, Who Dat? Always like seeing Who Dat in the chats. Glad he's on the hunt as a regular now. I know it's going to put all those other schmoes on notice, like the Tone and old Nate over there. This Depend, as they call it now, I guess. So happy for Who Dat being on that show. Oh man, we got Jason Smith in that chat, so I got to type in hi to him real quick. What is going on, Jason? There we go. Discovery Base says he's reading White Knight as well. Yeah, definitely keeping that on the pull list, especially since that first volume, which I think they just released in a nice volume hardcover, was really good. It's probably like one of the best reads of 2017, 2018. So we also got Mastodon says Grandpa Jason. Man, they won't stop busting his balls about that imaginary grandkid. Next up, we got Young Justice number 8. All my boys are in this title, so I got to keep reading it. This one, they're on Earth 3. If you guys haven't been keeping up with DC continuity, most of the Earth 3 heroes didn't survive the, what was like Villains United or whatever the hell that crossover is called way back when. So a lot of like your Earth 3 Justice League counterparts, basically, they never really made it off Earth 1. So now Earth 3 pretty much consists of evil versions of the Young Justice. So the most compelling being, Cassie Wonder Girl. Basically, her counterpart's just their version of Wonder Woman now. So I thought that was pretty cool. But beyond that, that's pretty much the story you get here. These have been very quick reads, especially for the typically wordy Brian Michael Bendis. So hopefully the story picks up soon. They've been helping the multiverse for what seems like 6 months now. It's probably only been like 2 or 3, but so I don't know if these have been delayed or what, but hopefully they just get the heroes back to where they belong very soon. Because other than that, my patience is thinning with that title. Deceased, A Good Day to Die number 1. Drew Manchu, I think, and Catrin Figures both reviewed this on their channels. I would highly recommend checking out their reviews because at the end of the day, honestly, the $4.99 price tag did not justify this book for me. If you like Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, Mr. Miracle, it's at least halfway entertaining to see them interact with the zombies and stuff, but it definitely was not essential to the deceased tale that's going on. I wish they would just integrate it into the regular miniseries going on instead of having a one-shot. It's just kind of cheating. You have like issues 1 through 5 or 1 through 6, and then you throw a one-shot in there. Like, come on. So $5, I guess. If you're a completionist, there you go. If not, you can easily pass on that if you like Deceased. Died number 7. Kind of a lot of indie titles lately. I just need to go back and read the first 6 again because they had that hiatus. And then I kind of just forgot the main story and the characters because I'm not like fully into all of the characters yet. So coming back into issue 7, all I can really say is like, wow, Stephanie Hans's art's pretty, but I do need to go back and read issues 1 through 6 to fully grasp issue 7. Some characters sleep together. They talk about how they killed another character. That's really all this book meant to me, unfortunately. Once again, another really one and done quick read there for me. Here was a fun one. Fantastic Four, number 14. So this kind of starts off with New York making an exhibit of the original Fantastic Four spaceship. And for some reason, seeing that exhibit encourages Johnny and Reed to create a new version of that spaceship and fly it into space. So 3 of the 4 Fantastic Four are cool with that, but there's a certain guy named The Thing who didn't have such a good trip the first time. He didn't want to go the second time, but once he saw Herbie the robot was replacing him on the mission, he made sure he had a seat on that plane. So that scene was a lot of fun. So continue to really dig Dan Slott's Fantastic Four run. So I definitely recommend you guys check that out if you haven't already. Green Lantern number 11. They're full on Grant Morrison at this point in this tale. We're hopping multiverses. We're getting different versions of characters. We still have Green Lanterns with volcano heads. Grant Morrison is running wild. So he meets Star Sapphire in this issue, except it's Star Sapphire of Earth 11. So, yeah, definitely an interesting take. I think there's only one more issue in this run. I'm definitely going to plan on reading most, if not all of them again, to see if I can really fathom what in the world Grant Morrison's pulling off here. But he's throwing a lot of multiverse characters into this, and I got to say, it's actually pretty awesome. And as much as people criticize the Liam Sharp art, I am digging his aliens. He draws some cool-ass aliens, so really like Green Lantern. And then my last current read before we start getting into some pickups and that type of stuff, we got Batman TMNT Volume 3, Issue 5. Man, James Tynion and Freddie Williams are just having a blast with this book at this point. They're throwing everything at the wall, and I got to say, it's one of my favorite titles I've been picking up lately. In this one, Batman actually takes himself away from the group for whatever reason. The Turtles can't figure it out. Splinter follows them. Splinter finds him at the bat signal, and he's just like, what are you doing? You know, we got to help the Turtles. He's just like, you know, you can't face these people alone, Batman. There's this really cool panel where Batman just goes, Batman has never been alone. And it's just the bat signal lit up, and it's like all the Robins and Batgirl, Nightwing, and the shadows in the background. It's actually a really cool panel. So one of the best Batman panels I've seen for a while. So it's like all of a sudden Batman remembered he had all these Robins that could help him fight like anti-Monitor Krang. So definitely think this is a cool issue. There's only one more issue after this, so getting ready for the dramatic conclusion of that. So can't wait to see. Everyone is apparently, I'm so boring. People are just looking at the watch count. So sorry about that. Looks like we have a solid 6 or 7 watching. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I know I've been super consistent with these live streams. I've been trying to keep them at once a month, just so I don't get too redundant. And hey, I'm on vacation this week, so I have time to kind of collect some thoughts and actually read a book or two before these. But we do have some new people in the chat I want to say hi to. We got the Art Chemist. What is going on, man? Definitely check out this guy. He's got some cool art. He's got some awesome stuff for sale. I believe he has a, unless he's sold it already, he has a cool $150 Silver Surfer piece up for grabs. So check out his Instagram. Check out his YouTube channel. He's got some cool stuff he's got going on over there. Jason Smith is refreshed. I'm glad to hear that. Barrett loves him some Krang. Who doesn't, man? Still got the Mastodon. He's refreshing that stream. And then Who Dat says, I need more Seawater 19. We need more Who Dat comics and movies. That's all I know. I know he likes some Batman Turtles. So hopefully he's been keeping up with that as well. And we got Comic Man Andy, which is a good time to plug tonight's Modern Men show once again. So Modern Men Comic Core 10 p.m. Eastern. I think Andy said he's going to join us. Hopefully we'll see Discovery Bay there. We might get a Great Legend cameo. And I'm just going to drop the link in the Comic Core chats on Instagram and that stuff. So well, you never know who's going to show up to these crazy things. So, all right. So I guess before we get into the Cincinnati Comic Expo, may as well just blow our way through all of these freaking half-price book hauls. I like to go to half-price books like once a week. Seems like that's the rate they've been refilling their bins. I think there's actually like 2 or 3 trips worth. So I guess without further ado, let me clear up some space here and we'll go ahead and just show this stuff. So most everything in here, I think there's a few $3 titles, but pretty much everything's either $1, $1.50, or 20 cents. So, and they came from various half-price books. So I always like to get these Silver Surfer Infinity Gauntlet tie-ins. Got a newsstand copy, 58. I think I got like 3 or 4 copies of this from dollar bins now. Same thing for issue 53. Got it for $1.50. Infinity Gauntlet crossover. I'd like to get, you know, the first Infinity Gauntlet and, you know, the Return of Thanos, all that good stuff. So hopefully these will bring good vibes on my way to get those for dirt cheap. Got issue 59. Once again, Gauntlet crossover and number 52. So they had a nice little run of Silver Surfer going up there. Here's a cool cover. I think I have the other version of this. Actually, I'm sorry. This is the second print. So I don't see the second print around too much or shown in the community. We have Supergirl number 5. This is that time, trying to think. I think it was Ian Churchill and Mike Turner teamed up and did this like jam cover. But the second print is just the Mike Turner Supergirl. So they did 2 versions of the first printing where like Churchill had his version of this one. And then the Black Supergirl would be Turner. And then the other one was just flipped. And I think instead had a red title, had a blue one. This one is just all Mike Turner. So you got to love that. And it's just got the white background. So not a book I see too often as this second printing. So really like that. This is one I pick up every single time I see it just because it's such a beautiful cover. Tales of the Teen Titans issue 4. Starfire. Maybe my favorite Starfire cover there is. Just George Perez at his finest. Absolutely love that. This is going to be one, like, if I sell an auction somewhere down the line, I'll probably just toss books like this in there. It's books I enjoy and really like. Had a really nice run of Exiles. I think these are actually kind of spec books for people because I think it's the first, was a Valkyrie from the Thor Ragnarok movie in the comic and the Peggy Carter Captain America. So I found these for $2 a piece. So literally half price books. So I got Exiles 1 for $2, which, like I said, I think that's the first time they utilized that character. And I like it for the old Miss Marvel too. She was fun. There's issue 2, probably first full appearance if I remember right. I don't know. I can't remember. And then number 3, Peggy Carter Cap on the cover. Just a fun read. I always like these, like, as you guys noted from my Green Lantern mini review there, I always like the multiverse hopping tales, and Exiles definitely did not disappoint with that. Here's something I didn't expect to find at Half Price Books. I found Teen Titans number 11 from the Silver Age, and I got this for $3. I really like this cover with Speedy's point of view shooting at the bad guy there, so I thought that was a pretty cool find for $3. Conditions actually not the worst in the world for what I expected. I just need to get that in some beautiful Mylar. I got one of those Walmart 100-page giants for $3. Teen Titans issue 3. I think I already had 1 and 2. So I figured why not go ahead and add 3 to the collection since I didn't even have to pay $5 for it. So cool Deathstroke cover there. Another Silver Age comic, $3. Superman $1.90. I think I'm really going to have to start going after like the Supermans and the Justice League Silver Age and the early bronzers because I see a lot of them. And they're always like pretty cheap. So I may just start expanding my collection on these. I just need to make that list so I don't buy things twice like I normally do. And hey, you gotta love that checkerboard top on there. So that was a cool find for $3. I think this from my local one where everything's like either $1 or 20 cents. Got an Aquaman number 5 from the Peter David run. You're just like, why are you getting that? So I had to get me a DC Universe logo variant. So I've been collecting these logo variants since I was a kid. So everyone's like, it's kind of a new fad, but I actually got like a nice little nest egg of these things. And I hadn't seen Aquaman 5, so I had to have that one. And just like that one, I had a Catwoman number 5 DCU variant. So I think I was starting to collect these older Catwomans too. The Valiant covers on these are amazing. So really like that. Here was, I think, a B cover for Trinity number 1. Jason Fabok. Hadn't seen this one ever, actually, so I thought that was a really cool cover, so I picked that up for $1. Actually, I'm glad Midwest Comic Man Paul is still in there. I believe at one point he okayed this book to me at C2E2. And, hey, I found another copy for $1, so I got G.I. Joe number 1 from the, I guess that's technically the Devil's Due crew before they seceded from Image. That's Josh Blaylock. But just a really awesome J. Scott Campbell cover on that one. One of the first comics I bought when I got back into comics back in 2002, 2003. So always like that cover. We got some 20 centers. I have yet to bag and board, so shame on me. I can't remember if this is some sort of key. I keep finding these Valiants for 20 cents thinking they're cool looking books. So I keep buying them up because they're basically like quarters on the dollar. So I got Exo Man of War issue 10. Thought that was a really cool cover with the fist coming out of the ground. So I got that. Slowly getting all these Brian Boland Animal Man. So I got issue number 60. Or, man, he's just having a bad day. Found a, I think this is volume 2 of The Authority, but I got an Authority number 1. from the Grant Morrison run. So once again, 20 cents on that. For $1, I bought a Secret Avengers #1. Don't think I had the A cover for this one yet, so I went ahead and added that to the collection. Found a Rye #13. Just thought that was a really sweet David Mack cover on that one, so I bought that for 20 cents. So thought that looked really awesome. Here we got Ghost Zero, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the Frizz on the cover, Jenny Frizen. So I thought that looked really cool for 20 cents. Found a Rye #1 from Matt Kent and Clayton Crane. Like I said, if I see Clayton Crane in the 20-cent bins, I'm probably just going to go ahead and buy it. Thought that was really cool art in there. Found this Thunderbolts 121. I believe that's a Lucio Perillo, if I'm not mistaken. So really awesome cover on that. Definitely couldn't go wrong with, some Hobgoblin from that awesome Italian artist, Perillo, everyone likes. I got a lot of run filler for the Ultimate Fallout. I didn't find the Fabled issue 4, but I did get issue #3 for $1, issue #2 for $1. So they had those laying in there as well. So I figured why not go ahead and pick those up too. Every time I see turtles in these cheap bins, I got to have them. So found a TMNT 54. From the IDW run, $2 for this one. I can never find turtles for just $1. They always got to mark up my poor turtles because like I said, everyone, the turtle fans, they're loyal. They buy them, they hold on to them. You don't see turtles in dollar bins that often. So even if I see them for a couple bucks like this, I'm just going to go ahead and pick them up because they are not the easiest books to come by overall. Oh, and then there's Ultimate Fallout issue 5 for $1. So pretty much got all the non-keys out of that run now. Luckily I have the keys in the boxes over there. But here's a great issue. I'll probably just, if I do another sale or an auction at some point, I'll probably drop this in someone's box. But Young Avengers #1, awesome Gillen and McKelvey run of Young Avengers. So that was cool. More DC logo variants. So we got the Night Quest Detective 674 logo DC variant. Batman 509 DC Universe variant. So once again, couldn't go wrong with those. We're going back to 20 centers. Look at this beauty. We got Dawn #1 from Joseph Michael Windsor. Absolutely beautiful copy. Love this book. Been actually looking for Dawn 1 for a minute. But hey, you can't go wrong with some Dawn there, right? So shout out to Robert Galvin. I'm sure he loves this comic book out there. Don't see too many copies of Cyber Frog laying around, so I figured why not go ahead and pick up Cyber Frog #3 for 20 cents. Thought that was a cool pickup. I had this Mike Turner cover on something called Soul Saga. I have never heard of this book. It's a Top Cow title, but hey, Michael Turner, you're going to pick it up for 20 cents. This one kind of made me mad when I found it. So previously at the same half-price books, I found Severed 2 through 7, but I didn't pick them up because I wanted issue 1. So it's probably been about a year since I saw that. So finally I saw issue #1 for 20 cents. So now I need 2 through 7 again. So I definitely plan on reading that at some point. And last but not least, for those bins, actually, I take that back. I think this is one of the ones. I found another Wolverine Deadpool fight for $1. I keep finding that book. But here's some shiny 90s Valiant goodness for you. Exo Man of War 26. So actually, I think this is burned in the 2000s. It's just very 90s-esque. I forgot to Robert Venditti, so it's from the new run of Valiant. So 20 cents. Thought that was cool looking, so I picked it up. All righty, so before we get into the Cincinnati recap here, we will go over some chat here. So it looks like, oh man, look at this. Hopefully Lenny's with them. We got Big Lion Cat 646. What's going on, man? I believe he just had a pickup video himself today. And as usual, he does an auction about every other Saturday. Is one of the best auctions in the community. So definitely appreciate BLC showing up. We got Paul saying his half-price books up the price for all comics of $2, so I stopped going. That's terrible, man. What? Really? $2? Dang. Hopefully the one that I drive an hour to has not done the same thing. Art Chemist says Silver Surfer still available. Just received his CGC certification forms. That's awesome, man. So like I said, if you want a cool looking Silver Surfer, hit up Art Chemist. Check out his Instagram for details on that. Chris Barrett still in the chat demanding a recap. Mastodon Comics and Collecting saying bye to JB. Hopefully we'll see JB tonight maybe. He says he's available for some live shows, so I'm trying to peer pressure him into joining Modern Men tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. And Paul likes that Animal Man. Who does not? All right, so going to the Cincinnati Con. So my experience for the Cincinnati Comic Expo, in my opinion, a much stronger con than the Indiana Comic Con. Maybe that's just because I went 2 days instead of one and didn't really see like Indiana Comic Con on Saturday. But really, I mean, there was no energy in that con at all for Indiana. But Cincinnati, there were pros and cons, obviously. I felt like, it could have used a few more comic vendors. I feel like there were less comic vendors this year and more like just toy and knickknack vendors, which is all right. I mean, because not everyone's there to buy, dig through $50 and dollar bins and all that stuff. Some people do want to go for the cosplay, get those type of accessories and shop the toys and pops and that stuff. I mean, that's totally fine. I'm not saying it was completely devoid of comics because, hey, I found comics. So the vending was all right. I definitely didn't have a problem with the vendor aspect of it. The art stuff, like this is my con that spoils me because it's a phenomenal con to get sketches at. So I'll cover those last. If you guys watched the last two shows I was on the Comic Core channel, actually it was JP's budget collecting too. I've already shown all the sketches, so hopefully I don't get too redundant, but I'll show them for those who weren't at those shows. But in terms of getting sketches, it was an awesome, phenomenal show. Probably one of the best I've personally ever had. But in terms of autographing and getting signatures, it's one of the worst I've ever had. Just because, people tend to charge and that stuff. Almost every name-worthy creator there was charging this time. Almost, I can't think of one exception actually. Actually, there was one exception. I'll point out that book once we get there. My first pickup, though, let's go and hop into the pickups to finish off rambling. Maybe my favorite pickup of the whole con, book-wise. I finally found a WCW World Championship Wrestling issue 1. So if you guys have been following my channel since the beginning, I like me some Lex Luger. Used to be my icon way back when, before I got into all this crap here. So this has actually been one I've been looking for a minute. So I think if nothing else, maybe if there's extra time at the end of the stream before the hour hits, I may just do a live reading of that. But yeah, WCW #1 for $1. Thought that was hilarious. Found another copy of Wolverine number 88 for $1. Actually, I think that last one's the one I found. This one's the half price books one, but whatever. I'll just take these off. Yeah, these were like the books I was going to get signed. Like I was going to try to meet Steve Englehart, but he was charging. I think he's going to go to Baltimore. I might just take these books again because if he's sponsored by Hero, that way my money will go to the Hero Initiative. So that'll be pretty cool. But unfortunately, I was not able to get my book signed because he was up to $10 a sig now. And I was just like, I could get another sketch for all that. So I decided to decline that. Here is the one book I actually did get signed. Harley Quinn #1. This was actually a Cincinnati Comic Expo variant back in, I think, 2016 when Rebirth hit. Already had it signed by Jason Fabok right there. But luckily, Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti, they were doing one signature for free per day, basically. So I just took this book with me on Friday just so I could at least meet them and say hi to them and all that stuff. So they were nice enough to sign my copy of the Harley Quinn Rebirth #1. So got that at least. So I at least got one book signed at this con instead of, none. So, all right. So it's been a minute. I'll be honest. I bought these books at the con. I put them in the bag, and this is the first time I'm opening the bag. So I'm kind of going to surprise myself on what I find in this bag probably. So, and I actually got some more sitting over there too that was in my book bag. So I'm getting some run filler for Animal Man as I already covered. So I got Animal Man issue 2. So I don't see these too often. I believe I paid $1 a piece for these Animal Man books. So I got issue 2, issue #4. So if nothing else, you get some phenomenal bowling covers out of them. Issue #7, which is a pretty hilarious issue in itself. And I was excited to find these. Issue 25, the typing monkey with the whole script on the front of the cover there. And then here's one I've been looking for a minute. Issue 26, the final Grant Morrison issue with Grant Morrison himself on the cover, kicking Animal Man, putting his feet up, getting comfortable with his corpse there. So absolutely love this issue. One of my favorites. Also for $1, I found the Lonely Place of Dying. For most part, I found, I think, almost all of this run. So I found issue 440, which is part 1. So it's great George Perez art on it, to say the least. Part 4. Sorry, they're out of order. And then there's part 3. And then, I'm sorry, actually, these are year 3 now. And then part 2. So all those for $1. Got Infinity Crisis #1, the Jim Lee cover. I did not, actually, I can't, I might have had this. If I do, I'll just give it away to somebody, but I don't think I had the Jim Lee cover. I have all the Perez covers. So for $1, figured why not just go ahead and throw that in the pile. This book was missing out of my collection for whatever reason. It probably ended up in my brother's collection. Ended up getting X Factor 200 just so I could have the full run still. So if you guys haven't read X Factor from Peter David, the 2000s run, it's a great run. I really like it. Happy Madrix has been brought back into the X-Men titles currently. I thought this was a cool cover for Harley #7. Probably should have tried to get this signed too, but like I said, it would have cost $5 after the first book. But I got this Bombshells variant for Harley Quinn. Thought that was a really nice cover there. I think, yeah, none of these stickers are right. They were all $2 comics. This guy, for some reason, he was just giving away stuff for $2 and $5. So the first day I went to his booth, I got this for $2. So Fantastic Four #76. You cannot beat Silver Age FF for $2. I will buy that all day, every day. Thundercats #2, Newsstands. So definitely been looking for these old Thundercats comics, or as you can see by the actual sticker, they usually don't price them cheap, but luckily $2. Found the first issue as well. I was super excited to get this. He had a $12 price tag on it, sold it for $2. So very happy to get that to the collection. Frank Miller's Ronin for $2. So I was happy with that purchase. I haven't read Ronin. I like me some, 80s and I guess early 90s Frank Miller. So don't see these too often for that price. Found New Gods #10. So figured why not? $2. That's going in the pile. Justice League #4. I believe this is where Booster Gold kind of joins the team officially. So like me some Booster Gold. House of Secrets #116 for $2. So I try to get these 70 DC horror comics when I can. Same thing for 108. And then I believe these were dollar books as well. So I got a couple of variants for the new Fantastic Four run, which I think these were kind of pricey when they first came out. That's why I was trying to figure out why they were in dollar bins, but I just went and bought them. So I got Fantastic Four #1. This is like a Joe Quesada wraparound variant. So thought that was pretty cool. Galactus wraparound variant. So usually the Quesada variants are not priced that cheap from Marvel. He actually had a bunch of them. I just bought the one. And then he also had the Arthur Adams. They didn't have the bottom half, unfortunately, but they had the top half of his wraparound, which I believe issue 2 is like the bottom half. So I thought that was really cool for $1. So happy with that purchase. I think these were, yeah, this guy had a great booth. I didn't want to buy a bunch because some of his books were just beat up, but and a lot of our mid to late Bronze Age for $1. So I got Teen Titans issue 18, which I was missing from my run fill. So I figured I'd go ahead and get that. We got Incredible Hulk 346, Eric Larson, Todd McFarlane. Yeah, you're buying that for $1 all day. And then another McFarlane Hulk 343. So I figured that was pretty good value for $1. All right, and I believe this is the last pile from that. So I did buy this one for $1 for a different vendor. It's a little beat up. Definitely needs a clean and press if I cared enough to get that. But I got Uncanny 450, which I believe is the first X-23 joining the team. I think it's 450 and 451 where the whole storyline occurs. So I thought that was a cool pickup for $1. And then I stopped by that guy who had all the $2 silvers. figured I'd flip through his. I had a $20 bill. I felt like spending on him, so he had $5 bins. So in his $5 bins, I picked up this Wizard Ace edition that reprints the original Daredevil #1, but it's got a really cool J. Scott Campbell cover, which I have never seen this cover. And I thought it was pretty cool because I actually was opening up and looking at it. You actually not only do you get one J. Scott Campbell cover, but you open it up and you get a second J. Scott Campbell cover with the Daredevil in a yellow suit. So I thought that was pretty cool for $5. I do like collecting the Wizard Ace editions whenever I see them, which isn't too often. So I thought that was real nice. And I found some Batmans for $5 a piece. So I got 408, which just got Neil Adams art. So can't turn that down for $5. Issue 398. Once again, just a really cool copy of that. And then I just really like this cover on 412. So I had to get that for $5. So I thought that was really awesome. And then my only other non-sketch pickup I got. So I guess we'll go ahead and go into this story. So on the last day on the way out, I definitely wanted to get a print from Amanda Connor because she usually has these like nice, really heavy-duty canvas prints. I actually got, can't see it on the camera, but Harley Quinn sitting right there. She still had that one for sale. So I figured why not just go ahead and get a Starfire one as well. But I figured like, hey, if I'm going through her line again, I may as well like get my one book signed. But I didn't have a one book on me. So I just kind of snuck this bad boy in there. So I got my print. It got signed by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti down there in each corner. So that'll be definitely going up on the wall here in the room. But like I said, I kind of casually snuck this in. It's like, hey, I don't have a book to sign. You just want to sign this? It's like, what is that? Amanda Connor was up first. She's like, what is that? It's my sketchbook. And she started, flipping through it. Thing it was really cool. So she did this Power Girl because she said she was tired of drawing Harley. She actually asked, like, hey, can I draw something right here? I'm like, I am definitely not going to tell you no. So she drew the Power Girl. I just like the whole sequence of events. She signed her name. She did the boob window, and then she drew the face. I just thought that was absolutely hilarious. So really enjoyed getting that signature from her and the little remark, basically. So extremely happy with that. But the story does not end there. So as Jimmy Palmiotti was sitting in his chair next to Amanda, of course, he kind of just looked over once he got done signing for the person he was signing for, and he is just like, what book is that? That doesn't look familiar. And she's like, oh, it's his sketchbook. And then once she was done, it's like, can I just look through the sketchbook? And he looked at every page in this book. So, and he's just like, man, I need to add to this book. Is that all right? I'm like, once again, I'm not going to tell you guys no. Do whatever you want. You can draw multiple pages if you want. So he's just like, do you like Wolverine? I'm like, yeah, who doesn't? So he drew this Wolverine free of charge. So big thanks to Jimmy Palmiotti for adding a free sketch to my sketchbook. It's been a long time since I've been able to get a free sketch in here. So, and at least one of quality. So I was extremely happy with that. Once again, that they know how to treat their fans, that's for sure. So if you guys see Amanda Connor, Jimmy Palmiotti at your cons, definitely go pay them a visit and say hi. But I was really happy with that sketch. Before we keep going in the sketchbook, I do want to say hi to some folks in the chat. We still got Chris Barrett in the chat. He says, I got that Quesada cover for Doctor Strange 400. That's cool. I haven't seen that one. I'll have to look that one up. Art Chemist is asking about New York Comic-Con. Unfortunately, I will not be at New York Comic-Con. I'll probably save my money for C2E2 next year with the Reed Pop stuff. But as pretty much the entire community knows, my next con is Baltimore Comic-Con with the Comic Corps. So we'll be there working that con. Unfortunately, it's kind of too close to New York for me to be able to go and afford both. So I'll definitely be at Baltimore, hopefully filling in a little bit more of this book here. Burn it down. We got Sam's Tangled Web. What is going on, man? Always like seeing Sam in the chat. He's one of the best guys in the whole community. Happy to see him out. I know this book's a rerun for this guy, but we got JP's Budget Collecting. Got to have a special thanks to him. He let me on his show along with a lot of other people the other day. I believe it was like Sunday. I don't know. I'm on vacation, so the days kind of just bled together since I got back from the con. So definitely check out JP's previous live stream. We had a lot of fun on that. And everyone just kind of saying hi to each other. So once again, this will be a rerun for JP. I guess I'll further elaborate what these sketches and the stories behind each of them as I go. So the first sketch I actually got at this con, because the Palmiotti one was the last one, because that was on my way out. Thank you, Art Chemist. That'd be awesome. I would definitely love to get something from you in this book. We got Andy Bennett did this Joker sketch. So I'll tell the story one more time. So Andy Bennett did this last year for his Inktober project. He did like all the Batman villains and heroes from the Tim Burton films. And what he does, he just sells the art on the side. So I think I paid $50 for this last year, if I remember right. And surprisingly, the only other one besides this one he sold was the Nicholson Joker. Actually, when I went to this con, he still had the other ones for sale. Like the Penguin was still there and that stuff. But I figured, why not just go ahead and get that Nicholson for the book? Because he seemed readily available and really wanting to sketch. But yeah, he did this Nicholson. I think he only charged me $40 because actually he is the first artist to do work twice for this book. So we did an Eraserhead, which is this one in 2017. So I was telling him, how awesome that was. And I actually referred my brother and his friend to him. So I don't know if that got me like a $10 discount or something, or he just likes doing sketchbooks a little bit better. But he only did charge me $40 for it, which I thought that was a steal of a deal. So I thought that was really awesome. Next up, the Aspen Booth. They usually have a presence at Cincinnati Comic Expo. So they actually brought Peter Steigerwald, Jordan Gunderson. There was another artist there. His name escapes me. But nonetheless, I had to get this Aspen Matthews from Jordan Gunderson. His style is awesome, and it's so close to Mike Turner's. Like, I just thought that was really beautiful. So I like, he did the Fathom character with like the water waves on the bottom and just an awesome face there. So I thought that was really cool, really awesome quality there. So I think he charged $40 or $50. Most of the ones I paid for were about the $40 or $50 mark. Next up, Chris Campana. I'm not sure how to announce his last name properly, so I'm going to go with Campana. But nonetheless, he seemed to do like a lot of 80s cartoon properties for his recent cover work and that stuff. So originally I asked him if he wanted to do Turtles, and he kind of gave me a story. He's like, man, I didn't want to be known as the Turtles guy, and I changed mine right there. But then he elaborated. He's just like, now I really like drawing them, and I already made up my mind. I was like, I'm going to get a Mumra from Thundercats and say. He just laughed, and he's just like, which one do you want? I said, like the full, like, angry version. He's like, I want to do the other one. It's like, oh, you can do that. But then he's like, no, you already said you want this version. That's what we're going to stick with. So we had some laughs there. But nonetheless, he gave me Mumra, the Ever Living from Thundercats. Very happy with that one once again. So I think I might have to start getting some Thundercats for this book now, at least a Lion-O and maybe a Chitara. But I was happy with the Mumra for sure. And then the last one I got to show you guys for the day from an artist named Kaylin Smith. She usually hits up the Cincinnati cons as well. So she had this Darkwing Duck on her table. And I'm like, hey, that's really nice, but I'd really like one for my book. And she's like, I will absolutely do one for your book. And she started flipping through and was just like, she almost seemed like astonished she was getting to work on this book with other artists that were like, I have like a George Perez and that type of stuff in here. And she seemed really humble that she got a chance to work on this book. But I was humble. She was working on the book. So it was just a fun interaction. But nonetheless, I got a Darkwing Duck in the book. And I thought that was just an amazing piece right there. So I'm very happy with that. On my Instagram, I think this is my #1 liked sketch I got out of the weekend. So definitely big thanks to all those artists who contributed to the book. I think that's a tie for my most successful sketch con, I guess, because typically I usually get like maybe at max 2, 3 at best if I get stuff outside of the book. But to get 5 inside the book, that took a lot. Well, I don't think it took a lot of work, but just a lot of work from the artist. Usually, like for instance, at C2E2, I got this Stephanie Hans Buffy, which I'm very happy with. Don't get me wrong, but obviously Stephanie Hans is a very popular artist and she's very busy. So that resulted in my book being occupied for a day and a half out of 3 days, which at that point I was kind of just like, I spent enough money at the end of Saturday. I didn't get too much else in the book. So that's what I usually run into. So that's why I'm starting to go towards some of these, I guess you could call them, I don't know if I want to call them lower tier artists because they still do phenomenal work, but just, I guess, like less popular artists will stick with that because they'll give you, production and, you get a good value. and efficiency. So, yeah, very successful con sketch-wise. So I think I'm just my con going habits. I think I'm going to slowly transition out of the signature business, I guess, because I got like 1,400 signatures, 1,000 signed books. I think I'm kind of good now. So I'd like to at least finish this sketchbook and maybe start another one with higher quality pages. So I think that's going to be my new goal going to cons. So my main goal is this book right here and just making sure I'm very happy with that. All right, before we wrap up here, let's go to the chat and see who else is in there. Like I said, we still got JP Budget Collecting saying those sketches are awesome. Thank you for sharing. Well, thank you for allowing me a forum the other day to share them. And we got, Eliza King? How's it going? Says she just crossed 1,000 yesterday. So big congratulations for crossing 1,000 subscribers. That is an achievement right there. So big congrats are in order. So thank you for joining me on my stream. Hopefully you're halfway. I'm not putting you to sleep or anything like that. Oh, it looks like Aggressively Relaxing snuck in there. What is going on, man? Happy to see you. Actually, it looks like now Eliza will have 1,001 subs because Jason Smith just subbed her up. So congratulations on your 1,001st sub from Jason Smith. Let's see what else we got. We got Who Dat saying, I need to start a sketchbook, so much better to look at and show off. Yeah, and the other reason I was saying this the other day, I kind of like having a sketchbook just because you can take it with you if you're waiting in long lines and you have other people who have the sketchbook. Sometimes it's fun to take out your sketchbooks, trade them real quick, see what you got in them, see what the other person has in them. And I mean, it's just because, like, obviously when I go to Baltimore, this is going to be in my backpack and I can be like, hey, guys, before you want to look at the sketchbook, and they're probably like, no, I've seen that a million times. Get it out of my face. So, but nonetheless, and it's fun. Like if you don't have anything to get signed, you can just get signatures in it too. So if you go to like 2 or 3 cons a year, this is my number one pro tip, recommendation, whatever you want to call it. Just get a sketchbook. It doesn't even have to be this big. I know JB Discovery Bay got one like a third of this size, and he was having a blast with it. And sometimes the smaller the size, you might get a cheaper price or a free head sketch because they don't have to occupy as much space. So, but I know just talking to creators and stuff, they even like Jimmy Palmiotti. He just loved flipping through the dang thing and, going through it. And he decided, like, hey, you need a sketch. So, number one pro tip right here. You go to cons, get a sketchbook. All right, we still got people coming in here at the tail end of the show. We got the Comic Collector. What is going on, man? Thank you for making it just in time before the end here. Let's see who that said he's starting his sketchbook. We got, let me take my drink of water real quick for this gentleman. We got Bake the Snake. What is going on, man? Feel like I hadn't done that for a minute. Oh, man, what you gonna do when the immortal Big E Shack runs wild on you, brother? I can't do the grunts like him, man. He's too good at it. We got the immortal Big E Shack in the chat. What is going on? And then who that's asking where I got this from. I think I got this particular one from a Barnes & Noble, but I think a lot of those have shut down at this point. But, yeah, you could probably go to Michael's, Hobby Lobby, any type of hobby store or anything like that and find a book like this. I think they sell them on Amazon, but I'm kind of the point where I want to like look and feel the book first so I can see the quality of the pages. I'll just use one example on why I would want to look at the quality of the pages. Let me get that out of the way real quick. Just because like I got this phenomenal free sketch from Barry Kitson in 2012. But as you can see on the page quality, because of the type of coloring he used, the pages started to warp over time because the pages are just thin enough. They didn't like some of the color paint that was put in the book, which I personally have no problem with. This is my personal collection. I can still look at it just fine, but I know some artists, like when I was talking to Stephanie Hahn, she's like, you might want to invest in a new book that has higher quality pages. So since then, I've kind of had that in the back of my mind. She's like, hey, she's probably right. But at this point, like even on the Darkwing Duck, because the Kayleen Smith did ask me, I was like, do you want that full color or just inks? And I kind of just told her to like judge herself, like look at the page and think the type of color she's going to use is going to work the page. And she's like, I'm not going to take any chances. I'll just do ink. So it could have been a full color Darkwing Duck if it was higher page quality count. However, whatever Ty Templeton used, which is probably just marker, was perfect because he gave me this Poison Ivy and it didn't warp the page at all. So it's kind of weird. Just kind of depends the supplies the artist used. So like I said, you could go to probably most any art store or bookstore and find a book like this. I think actually when I was hanging out with Discovery Bay at C2E2, he just found a vendor who was selling them. So you can even find them at cons. But actually, if I was a con dealer, I would say buy a bunch of these and sell them. There you go. There you go. One vendor who probably isn't watching, sell a bunch of these at your cons, because I don't see a lot of, because JB did have trouble finding a sketchbook at a con. So you can find the plastic holders and all that crap all day. Oh, overpriced, but if you could sell these for like $20 a piece at your booth. So there you go. If you're a prospect con person who wants to exhibit at a con, sell some sketchbooks. Mark the price up. Do everyone a favor, including yourself. So yeah, definitely, I can't recommend sketchbook enough. That is my favorite thing in my whole collection, without a doubt. Oh, look at this guy. We got 90 MF Comics YouTube. I did it out of order, man. You're supposed to go, YouTube is 90. Drink it in, man. So there you go. I try my best on that one. And then we got Biggie Shag. He's a little bit of the bubbly. Absolutely. Looks like you guys are setting up your plans for the Jericho cruise next year. Yeah, good luck with that. That guy, he gets a little crazier every year. I can't wait to see how crazy he's going to be in 2020. So love me some Chris Jericho. Who that says, I'm going to the store this week, have a small con this weekend, have some TMNT arts there. Yeah, hey, that sounds like a great opportunity to start a sketchbook. Because the best, I mean, because I think someone did ask me, like, how do you just start one? I'm like, you buy it, find an artist, they do the first page. That's all there is to it. So TMNT arts, yeah, start a TMNT themed book. That's actually what I was kind of thinking about doing for a book, because I thought about getting turtles in this, but I seem to be kind of cursed with cons and turtles. I actually went looking for a bunch of turtle books this week. I'm still looking for issue 4. I'm looking for run fillers. Cincinnati Con was completely dry of Ninja Turtles books. I mean, I could get a sketch in here, but I was just too depressed. I couldn't find my issue 4 or any of the early run fillers from volume 1. I hardly even saw any of the IDW run there for sale. So, like I said, those turtle collectors, they just grasp onto everything and they keep it in their PCs. So, talk about how overpriced. Poor Jericho Cruise. At least you get probably a wrestling show and a Fozzy concert, right? You like yeah. I think if you don't like Fozzy, you'd be screwed. Chris Barrett is offering to do the first sketch for free. So there you go, who dat. Send your book to Chris Barrett once you buy it, and you'll get a stick figure. So there you go. Hopefully he's an actual artist. That'd be sweet if Chris Barrett turned out to be like this big time artist, and you send the book to him and you get Jim Lee back. That'd be pretty sweet, but I kind of doubt that. Big E Shack confirms why I kind of just said Jericho is a nutbag. See you later, Jason Smith. And then the last comment, I'm going to send my extras to CGC, then sell them issues of 1, 3, and 4. Says who dat Comics and Movies. But nonetheless, we're about 1 hour, so we'll go into last plugs and wrap this whole show up because I've rambled on long enough. And apparently I've got a lot of filing to do now because there's no room left on this counter. So big thanks to you guys for joining me in the live chat. I'll be back in about 2 hours on the Comic Core channel. I'm filling in tonight for the absence of the Golden Guys. We're doing Modern Men instead of Golden Guys. So basically it's just going to be me. Hopefully Comp Man Andy will be there. Hopefully I can get JB Discovery Bay there. Maybe a Great Legend appearance, maybe a chat appearance. We'll see. But we're just going to talk about stories like in the modern ages. We're just going to keep it simple. Probably pick 3 to 5 stories a piece. Kind of give a quick recap. And like I said at the beginning of the show, my main takeaway is someone actually watches this show and like, man, maybe I should read this story. And they actually really enjoy it. So I'm not going to do anything too crazy. We're not going to talk spec books or you should get this story because it's worth a lot of money or anything like that. It's just most of my stuff's probably going to be in the $1.50 bins. I'll be honest. So I really look forward to seeing who's actually going to show up to that show. I'm just going to drop the links in the comic chats tonight. And we're just going to have a good time and hopefully not make all the members of the Golden Age community mad by replacing Golden Guys tonight. That's my number one fear is everyone's got yeah, it's Golden Guys Tuesdays. Who are these schmoes talking about, 90s X-Men and Superman? Man. So hopefully 2 people show up and enjoy tonight's show. But nonetheless, thank you guys so much. Shaq, Bake, Chris Barrett, Who Dat, everybody. So definitely big thanks, guys. Congratulations to Eliza earlier, Eliza King, being new to the channel and crossing 1,000 subs, 1,001, including Jason Smith. Big thanks to all of you guys. Have a wonderful night. See you in a couple hours.